we just had the first Divisional Cup opens of the new season. We've got a ton of big teams qualified for the finals. A lot of big duos missed out too. We've got Queasy and Merstach that have now officially split. I'll go over that whole tournament. I also want to talk about the solo victory cup and a bunch of other stuff. Let's get straight into it. So listen, before I show you the map for the Divisional Cup finals and give you my top 10 predictions, we need to know who's qualified. So let's take a look at the top 10 from opens. As you can see, Chap and Flixie were the team that came first after 2 days of competition. They have started the season in blistering form. They were quite up and down last season. Across the off-season as a whole, they've been decent, but not quite hitting the crazy heights as teams such as Sky and Scroll, Shxrk and Teeny. But listen, they have had an immediately good start. Chap in particular has been so explosive. They won a game in the Eval Cup the other day, and Chap had the top damage and the top eliminations in that tournament, and well, he's done it again. He had the top damage and top eliminations in this tournament too. He is just playing so well right now, proving why he's regarded as one of the best fighters on the region. In second place, we had Focus and Thomas HD. Now these guys also won an Eval Cup game the other day. No surprises to see them making it. Truly and Zynox came in third. This is a very underrated team that have been performing well as of late. They managed a 4th and a 6th in the Divisional Cups last season. I know there was a clip going around of Zynox with a sus moment, let's just say, but this team isn't banned. They are playing these tournaments. We have to assume they are legitimate, and they are doing very well. We had Skyjump and Mumsy, the new duo, come in 4th, Sky and Scroll in 5th, no shocks there. Kaisers and Gonzo managed to 6th place, and this is an interesting one. Gonzo was previously with Predage, and I felt that this duo had a lot of potential. Gonzo is a very bright up-and-coming player, whilst Predage is a proven IGL, someone that is great at getting his teammates all the way to the end of games. And listen, these guys were doing great. They made all of the first 4 Divisional Cups of the season. They didn't make the last 2. It fell off a little bit after that, but I felt like they could have persisted for a little bit longer. But listen, what do I know? Kaisers and Gonzo did qualify as a new team. We also had Predage make this tournament with his new teammate of Ankido, so they will both be playing in the finals. Rounding out the top 10, we have Akira and Karama in 7th, no shocks there. We've got the new duo of Pix and Kiro in 8th place, another relatively new team of Dan DePuzo and Werex in 9th, and then rounding out the top 10, we have Chino and Pablo Wingu, who really struggled on day 1. They were outside of the top 50, but they came 2nd on day 2 to secure that comfortable qualification. Now look, we'll take a look at the full map in a moment so you can see all the teams that have made finals, but I will go over some of the big names now. We of course have Shxrk and Teeny that have made it. They will be contested by 2 teams in the finals though, more on that in a moment. MrSavage and Velo did officially qualify, maintaining their perfect record of making Divisional Cup finals. We also had Mongraal and Turtle make it, and this is big news because they didn't make a single one of the 6 Divisional Cup finals in last season, but they have started this season well. Can they maintain it? We'll have to see how they go. Of course, they are in a little bit of a difficult situation. They will be contesting Shxrk and Teeny over at Wonky Land. We've also got Fishy X and Domla, which is the spiritual successor of Fishy X and Hottie, landing there, so it's going to be very chaotic. We'll have to see how they all get on. But credit to Mongraal and Turtle, they survived the Q sniping and they were able to make the finals. We also had a lot of other big teams make it. I'll throw up a quick list on screen now so you can see. As you see, Vico and Malabuka in, Yapko and Panzer 2. We have the return of Fridoxy in finals. He has finally made it back in there, and Swizzy and Pixie narrowly making it, finishing in 49th place, just about sneaking into that top 50. And in terms of teams that missed out on these finals, there are a lot. You can see the full list up on screen now. As you can see, Queasy and Merstach may be one of the biggest names. That is a duo that have officially split. They will not be playing together anymore, and honestly, I think this makes a lot of sense. They have underperformed a lot since they've been playing together. They've only made 1 Divisional Cup final together and they finished 37th. It's just not been good, and I wasn't seeing the signs that it was going to improve. I mentioned in my off-season review video that these guys would have to start the season very, very well, almost instantly, because of the short turnaround to FNCS, because that is only like 2 weeks away. There's not a lot of time to build in, to grow in. They have to just be good straight away, and coming in that position, It's not ideal. The split makes a lot of sense. We're going to be seeing Queasy playing with Shxrk. This is a pretty strong Balkan duo, one that I think makes a lot of sense, and I'm excited to see how they get on. With Merstach, we don't quite know his duo yet. I'll keep you guys posted as to who he's going to play with. But yeah, as with any EU Divisional Cup, there's always going to be big names that miss out. Cammy and Hari won't be in these finals. We also won't be seeing Seti and Rax either. They struggled on day one, but as you're about to see, the finals are still looking incredibly stacked. So here's the map for finals. As you can see, there are some interesting spawn fights. Of course, over at Wonky Land, you've got the absolute chaos that is going on there. If you take a look at Squibbly Shores as well, you can see that Sanguild and Fredoxy are contesting Marius and Eyedrop, which should be an interesting fight. You've also got Kashi and Byron inserting themselves into proceedings there. We'll have to see how that all plays out. Now, let's go over my top 10 predictions for the finals. In 10th place, I've gone for Shxrk and Teeny, and that might seem quite strange considering I've just said there's going to be chaos there, considering that all of those teams are going to be fighting each other. But in previous instances where we've had 3 duos at this POI, Shxrk and Teeny have always been the team that play the fight tactically. They land at the north side, they let the other teams do the battle, and then they swoop in and get the kills. They'll play things smart, they don't just jump in for no reason, and because of that, I do believe they will be the only Wonky Land team to succeed in this tournament. Now, I can't put them realistically any higher than 10th because there will be games where they do get sucked into proceedings. There will be games where they will just get keyed. They'll be left weak. But overall, I still think these guys can have a respectable tournament. In 9th place, I've gone for Yapko and Panzer. Now, these guys won a Divisional Cup last week, but outside of that, they've not been great. Listen, they've got Painted Palms uncontested, so from that, they do have a high ceiling. And this is a duo that can just turn up on the day despite performing badly in previous tournaments. If you remember the second Reload qualifier, they were first for a long period of that tournament. Looked so good, so consistent, so it would not be a surprise to me if they did well. I've got them in 9th for now. In 8th place, I've gone for Shxrk and Repairs, and this may seem like an interesting pick, one that maybe you wouldn't expect, but listen, these guys were brilliant at the tail end of last season. They got back-to-back 5th places in the Divisional Cups, and yes, it's a different meta. Yes, their strategies are going to change, but they weren't ever a team that were that dependent on playing in the Storm. They tended to like playing on the edge of zone, and because of that, I don't think they're going to be too affected by the new meta. I think they should be able to kick on. They should be able to keep the consistency. Wingsuits being removed shouldn't affect this team too much. And if anything, this new meta may suit them more. Having the pieces, having the gauntlets, having the overdrive shockwaves, it could be good for them. I will say that the weeks they did well last season were the ones where the desert area was very, very congested. There aren't too many teams landing there this time, so that may affect them a little bit. It's why I can't see them getting inside the top 5, because they won't have as many teams to sneak up on, to key, to get damage off of, but I think 8th is a realistic placement. In 7th place, I've gone for Sky and Scroll, and as per usual, it is difficult to predict how these guys are going to do, because of course their POI is very, very congested, and in particular this week, if you take a look at the map, there are a lot of teams around them. Now, often Sky and Scroll do get treated with a lot of respect. They are allowed to have their territory and teams don't intervene too much. There were a few instances in the last season where they were getting keyed in the Storm, but generally they do tend to be okay. Now, in this instance, we do have a lot of teams there, so I can't guarantee they're going to be left alone. That's why I've got them in 7th place. That's why I can't put them in the top 5. They're a team with a lot of quality, and when they do have favourable circumstances, then they will always be a contender to win. But in this particular situation, I think 7th is the highest I can put them. In 6th place, I've gone for Akira and Karama, and if you watch my videos, if you follow EU competitive, then that won't come as a shock to you at all. This is an incredibly consistent team. I think south side of Fortress is a POI that suits them very well. It's in the mid map. They should be fine for damage. They should be fine for surge. I think they are going to do very, very well in this tournament. In 5th place, I've gone for Vico and Malabuka. Now, these guys are actually the defending Divisional Cup champions. They won the last one of Season 1. The reason why I've not got them in my top 3, the reason why I don't think they're going to win, is simply because I think someone's going to land on them. Listen, Uncon Frigid Fortress, Uncon Northside, it feels a little bit too good to be true. Especially if you take a look at the top left of the map, you can see that Dom and Dimush have 2 teams landing on them over at that split. And Dom and Dimush are a team that have been planning to land at Fortress. They did tweet that at the start of the season. So I could easily see them pivoting, landing over there and contesting Vico and Malabuka. We'll have to see how it goes, but I just think that situation could get a little bit messy. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it stays fine, and maybe Vico and Malibu could have an excellent tournament, but 5th is where I put them for now. Honestly, you can apply the same logic to my next 2 picks. I've got Swizzy and Pixie in 4th, and listen, they have Uncon Lethal Labs, but I do feel like that is one of those POIs where teams will land for a pop-off game if they are struggling, if they are lower down the leaderboard in the first half of the tournament. I hope Swizzy and Pixie can keep it Uncon because I'm very excited to see what their ceiling is from such a good POI, and on paper this is an insanely strong team and they should be doing well. 4th is where I've got them, purely because I think there's 3 top teams above them. One of those being Chino and Pablo Wingy, who I've got in 3rd place. Now first things first, if I could tell you right now that they'd have Sandy Strip uncontested in 6 out of 6 games, I'd probably put them to win. But I'm a realist, that's simply not going to happen. We will have teams land there in order to have big comeback games, and Chino and Pablo might struggle a bit because of that. But listen, if they can have the bulk of the games Uncon, if they can beat the teams that potentially land on them, then they are going to have a great tournament. They've changed their whole mentality going into this season. Previously, they were quite happy to split the POI. Now they're saying, we're going to take all of it. We want all the loot here, and if anyone comes to take it, we will eliminate them. And it seems to be working out for them so far. Let's see how they get on in this tournament. In 2nd place, I've gone for Chap and Flixie. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the video, these guys are in incredible form right now, especially Chap, playing so explosively, playing so well as a fragger. And from that mountain POI, honestly, I think they could do very well. I have to say, I do wonder if Vico and Malibu may come to regret leaving the mountain. Yes, I know their strategy isn't viable anymore because wingsuits are out of the game. They can't build their big ramp off the top mountain and then wingsuit into zone, avoiding taking lots of damage and ensuring they stay above surge. With that gone, yes, the POI isn't as appealing, but it's still pretty solid, honestly, and Chap and Flixie, I'm sure they can do very well from there. Yes, they're an up and down team. Yes, you kind of never know which iteration of them is going to turn up, but I'm predicting them to do well in the finals on Saturday. And that, of course, leaves Focus and Thomas HD as my 1st place pick. Now, this isn't surprising at all. These guys were one of the most consistent teams in the whole off season. Riptide's Uncon is a very favourable situation. We've seen them do well from here in the past. Yes, sometimes when the zones go far, they do struggle a bit, but I'm predicting them to have a good tournament. They're looking great at the moment. Focus especially is someone that is doing it all at the moment in terms of being an unbelievable fragger, in terms of IGLing the whole duo. He is a proper all-round player. I'm expecting them to do very, very well. My final 100% confirmed predictions will be out on Saturday over on my Twitter if you want to take a look at those, because the map could change in the meantime. Listen, let's now talk about NA Central. We had 8 European teams qualify over there, which is super impressive. Truly and Zynox were the top one, finishing in 12th. We've also got MrSavage making it, Pablo and Kiro too, loads of top teams. It will be interesting to see how they get on in the finals. I'm hoping at least one of them can break into that top 10. So let's go back to Sunday when we had the solo victory cup. I want to take a look at the top 3 from opens. As you can see, Shxrk was in 1st place. Absolutely no shocks there. He is one of the top solo players in the world right now. He also managed to drop a 31 kill win in finals. That's just insane. In the top 4,000 player lobby, getting 31 kills, honestly making it look like a pubs game, is just ridiculous. Credit to Shxrk because he is just doing stuff differently at the moment. We had Alba in 2nd place, once again cementing her position as the best female player in Fortnite. I mean, I don't even think that's up for debate. I think if you disagree with that, then you're mental, to be honest, because Alba is so good at the moment, especially in solos. We know she plays a lot of the PlayStation Cups, so if we do have another solo series later in the year, I do believe she could do very well in that. And in 3rd place, as you can see, we have MrSavage, proving that he still has what it takes to be a top solo player. In terms of the finals round, we had 3 players win twice. One of those was Josh75, a top UK prospect right now. We also had Adrix, the Spanish player, not the Polish player, they both have similar sounding names, and Malibu Kenya, a 14-year-old German player. Credit to all 3 of those players. Now, the weekend also brought us the Amar Lost Legends tournament. This was a 0-build squad cup in which we had a pro that wasn't allowed to shoot their guns and 3 content creators. and it was very entertaining. It was controversial at times because if teams were doing too well, then they would receive nerfs where they weren't allowed to use certain weapons just to keep things balanced, which honestly I thought made the tournament super fun. We ended up having Seti's squad win the whole thing, so Seti took home 25k for himself, which is crazy to think about. A bunch of players were playing this. We had Savage had a squad, Queasy had a squad. It was a very stacked cup and good fun. I hope we can see more stuff like that in the future. And finally, we have the news that Leo the Crack is hosting his own boot camp. We will have a ton of EU pros featuring there. Pablo, Chino, Marius, Pink, Sato, Trippin and Nosif will all be there, all be on 0 ping, I would presume, so should be very exciting to see what content and what results come of that. Let me know your thoughts on the topics discussed today in the comments section below. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos. I make them every few days to keep you guys up to date on European Fortnite. If you want to support me any further, then using code SPODZON in the Fortnite item shop is a great way to do that. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.